Hi, I'm Jennifer Lynn Robinson. I'm an inspirational keynote speaker, a lifestyle communications expert, and a fashion enthusiast.
So you have a lot of things on your plate. What does work-life balance mean to you, and how do you manage that?
I've given up on work-life balance. I used to think that was a thing,
Yes.
and I realized that's not a thing. So it's really about what you want to use your time for. I'm really big on this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about getting really clear on what your goals are and the habits that you need to get there. Now, I don't always follow all of his advice, but it's very helpful, I think, in determining what I want to spend my time on. So I just think sometimes things are more important than other things, right? So you have to decide what's the most important thing right now, and then what do you want to do with your free time, I think, is the other thing, because I used to really fill all my free time every minute. People who see my social media would probably still say, I don't know when she sleeps, there's two of her, she's out every night. I feel like I have pulled back, especially since COVID, and I've really tried to curate my time more into strategic events that are fun and meaningful to me, you know, my work stuff, and then leaving time for family and friends, which I think I didn't do enough of before COVID.
Nice. So was COVID kind of a pivotal change for you? I hate that word, pivot.
I know. I use it a lot too, though.
I hate it. But, you know, was there a pivot for you kind of post-COVID?
I feel like there was. I mean, when COVID first hit, it was shocking, of course, you know. Oh, the whole country's going to close, and then it's going to be a few days and a few weeks. Initially, I was kind of ecstatic. I mean, it was a scary time because you didn't know what was going on. But I was like, go, go, go every day, you know, 5 things a day, 7 days a week. And it was kind of nice to be like, what am I going to do with my time? You know, how do I want to spend it? I mean, I obviously had limitations on how we could spend it. But still, it was like a nice turning point to really reconsider, you know, what I wanted to do with my time. Yeah.
Who has been the biggest inspiration in your life?
I would say my grandmother on my dad's side. And it's interesting. I mean, I was close to both my grandmothers. And growing up, we had a great relationship. But I wouldn't say she's the kind of inspiration that she is for me now, that she's been gone for a long time. Growing up, I thought she was an amazing person. She was a Holocaust survivor. And she became a national Holocaust speaker. But she died when I was in college, and it was before I actually did any speaking. It was before I was a trial lawyer, and I did jury trials, and before I was a professional speaker. So it's really interesting just to see the path I've taken and kind of where I get it from. My dad is also an amazing storyteller and speaker. So I look at her journey now, and it's so much more meaningful to me to watch everything she did, even though she's not around. She was also an amazing artist, and in college I actually started doing my own charcoal sketches, oil painting, and clay sculpture. I'd love to get back into it, you know, but I didn't realize I had that kind of talent, and I really feel like I get it from her. So she really has inspired me in a lot of ways.
It's amazing. So can you tell me a little bit about like your origin story and how you got where you are today?
Yeah. Oh gosh. It's always interesting because I tell people what I'm doing now, which is professional speaking mainly, you know, and then I tell people I was a trial lawyer, and the first thing people say is something like, boy, that's an interesting transition. How did you go from being a lawyer to what you're doing now? Or why did you give up law? Or did you hate it? You know, all of those things. And I know you know my story, but obviously people watching do not. I had a near-death accident years ago, and it included some very serious physical and mental injuries, including a traumatic brain injury. So that was what took me out of law. And ultimately, I started my own consulting business because I was still having a lot of treatment and surgeries, and I wasn't really in a position to do a regular 9 to 5 where I had to answer to people and sit at a desk all day. I just had too much going on. You know, we don't have to get into all the details, obviously, but I started it knowing I would grow it into a public speaking business, but being told at the time to give up a career that involved public speaking because that wasn't going to be realistic for me. It was going to be very difficult. I was having trouble having conversations like this. Even the air conditioning that I can hear in the background of this interview was something I couldn't put in the background because of my cognitive impairments at the time. So I really couldn't form my thoughts, think on my feet, find words. There was a lot of things that were a struggle. And it was looking like public speaking was going to be very challenging to me. But when I was a trial lawyer, I loved being in front of people. That was what I loved about it. So, I mean, I always knew I was going to grow it into a public speaking business. It's been a long road to get there. I mean, the first, I would say, 3 to 5 years were a struggle as I improved with my recovery. But here I am. I would say, you know, I guess the short answer that I should have started with was I feel like I got to it through networking. because when I started the business, all my contacts were in the law field, in a little legal community where a lot of people knew me, in a little niche area, and I didn't realize the value of a diverse network or that I would ever start a business. No idea how to run a business, no thoughts to be an entrepreneur. So once I started all that and realized I had to get my name out and brand myself and network and all that, I feel like that's really what propelled the business and also where I am today. And it's led to so many more opportunities.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So I know that TEDx Talk was a really big accomplishment for you. Anything else?
Yeah, so one of the things I'm most proud of is that the last couple years I've started teaching business communication at Wharton. So it's amazing. I mean, not only is it amazing to be able to teach, and I have to say, you know, kind of as an aside, I thought as a professional speaker it would be a breeze, and I'm really learning that teaching is a whole different animal than speaking to like corporate crowds. And I'm learning a lot about myself and a lot of new things. But the reason that's even more meaningful to me is because when I had my terrible accident years ago that took me out of law practice, I was actually on Penn campus. So when that happened and I was a pedestrian and I got hit and pinned under a truck, and it was very traumatic. And for many years after that, I couldn't cross streets. I had to go to a lot of psychological therapy. I definitely couldn't cross streets around Penn where it happened. I would literally, at the time, this was a long time ago, no Ubers and things like that, I would have to get in a cab to go 2-3 blocks because I was physically unable to cross a street there. So when I got back on campus a couple years ago to start teaching, I really thought it was an accomplishment in so many ways. You know,
for sure.
First of all, just to be selected to teach at Wharton.
Yes.
Second, to do the public speaking that I was told was not going to be a reality, and then to do it on the campus where I had the accident, where I'm now crossing streets and thinking I'm building these amazing memories that are overtaking that trauma that I went through, and it's all like happy memories. So that's been amazing.
That's an incredible perseverance.
Yes.